Alrighty, guys, last topic for this outcome. So last topic of Unit 1, almost there. All right, you've heard this to death, corporate social responsibility for business planning, all right? If you don't know the definition, you need to go back and remember it, yeah? All right, so CSR, a business commitment to go above and beyond their legal obligations in relation to social, environmental, and economic considerations. There's just no other way around it. You just need to know this definition, okay? So CSR, a part of both internal and external. We obviously looked at it in the last outcome in the external environment. We are going to be looking at it again in internal. They can't control the pressure societies put on businesses in relation to CSR, okay? Businesses, they just don't have the ability to control what people think, believe, want, okay? And that is where the control factor comes in. If you can't control it or there's very little control, it's going to have to be in the external environment, okay? However, they can control how they are going to utilize CSR within their business, okay? And that is going to be a major component of a business plan, of a business planning process. We'll always be looking at how can we be socially responsible, okay? For business planning, there will be consultation with their stakeholders to determine the expectations from people with a vested interest in the business, okay? Stakeholders, just remember that is anyone that is involved in the business, employees, business owners, managers, customers, suppliers, competitors, anyone that may have an interest in the business. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be buying from them, but they will have somewhat of an interest. They will obviously be providing their input in order to make sure this business is planning for what everyone involved actually thinks is necessary. So the decisions about CSR in business planning will obviously impact who the suppliers are going to be, where we're getting our supplies from, so resource management, how are we going to store them properly, where are we actually supplying them from, so is it going to be locally in Australia, are we getting them from overseas, and are we going to be looking at environmentally friendly practices, okay, so looking at the packaging, looking at how we're manufacturing it, is it recyclable, is it emitting a lot of carbon emissions, so making sure that we are actually focusing on the environmentally friendly practices themselves, okay. The impacts on the reputation and competitive advantage that a business builds will obviously be a massive contributor into a business wanting to incorporate corporate social responsibility into their planning, okay. If it can give them an additional edge over their competitors, they're going to want to take it. Building up their reputation so that they do have further reach and people actually want to buy from them is obviously also going to be a really positive impact as well. Okay, so potential issues that a business may face. So we've got sourcing resources. We've sort of already touched on this, but businesses should plan to choose raw materials that are from sustainable sources. Resources should come from suppliers that are ethical and respectful in the production process. So again, this is looking at making sure products have been sourced locally. Yeah, people love Australia-made products, and that can obviously stem from Australian-made resources. Okay, making sure that there's been no animal testing is another example. Child labour, sweatshop labour. So a couple of these are going to be mostly overseas, but that is something that you definitely need to consider because an example is Nike. Their reputation was seriously tarnished when it came out that they were using sweatshops. with really low levels of working conditions and really, really low wages. Okay. The second CSR issue would be selling environmentally responsible products. So businesses should plan to sell products that are environmentally sustainable. The business should aim to limit the negative impact that the products have on the environment. Okay, so not just the packaging, but the actual products itself. Okay, limited packaging, recyclable packaging, and reusable packaging. Okay, they are just some examples. Other examples would be, so when I used to work at the toy shop, again, I've used this example before, but many parents have gone to buying more wooden-based products as opposed to plastic products purely because it is much more environmentally friendly. Okay, wooden products are able to be recycled. They often last longer, whereas plastic products often just end up being thrown away quite quickly. They break relatively easily, and they're just really, really bad for the environment. So that is a societal attitude leaning towards a more environmentally friendly based product. Okay. Conditions of work. So businesses should plan to go above and beyond the minimum legal requirements for the workplace. Okay. Exceeding minimum wages and salaries, additional benefits to promote employee well-being, obviously making sure that the conditions within the workplace are also safe, which is a legal requirement, but even going above and beyond. Okay. So an example of that could be the multi-desks where you can change them from a seated position to a standing position. Okay, that's not a legal requirement, but it is something that businesses are definitely working more towards. Okay. Businesses should plan to go above and beyond the minimum legal requirements for the workplace environment. They should aim to exceed. So flexible working arrangements such as working from home, free medical checkups, mental health services such as counselling, free exercise and meditation classes and programs, wages and salaries that exceed the minimum requirements. Okay. These can all contribute to making sure that businesses were being considerate of their employees, which can obviously then lead to customer satisfaction increasing if employee satisfaction is increased, and also builds the positive reputation as well. Then the last one, fair employment. Businesses should plan to provide employment to disadvantaged groups of people. Businesses should also plan to implement policies that ensure that no discrimination occurs during the hiring process. This one in particular, we do look at in more detail in Unit 2, but effectively employing people from diverse backgrounds, physical disabilities, mental health issues, Indigenous communities, age groups. So looking at hiring potentially older generations who are maybe looking more about either entering into retirement soon or coming out of retirement as well, because it does provide a much more diverse perspective as well. Okay, so again, depending on the business that you're looking to enter into, the industry, having a range of different perspectives can, of course, be really beneficial to the business as well. All right, guys, we are all done for outcome 3 of Unit 1. Well done. We will soon be talking to you about the upcoming SAC.